Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And as many of you know, Harlem Network News is a media platform that started at the onset of COVID out of necessity, when Black folks were walking around Harlem thinking in regards to COVID that I'm Black and I can't get it. And major media, we didn't see ourselves on major media. So that is where Harlem Network News stepped in, and we're still here. We continue to report news and information that is pertinent to Harlem and the Harlems of the world and the whole world. And it's a very key thing as we see what's happening in Gaza and Israel. And just at this point, we know that Hamas went in and, there was murders of the Israeli people, over 1,200 people. There's still 200 hostages. But the response of Israel in almost almost 2 months' time has killed 20,000 Palestinian people. So that's very serious. That's very critical as the world stands by, as the United States continues to unequivocally, unconditionally fund Israel, and the UN and Forces for Peace are just calling for peace in the Middle East, a ceasefire, and Harlem Network News stands for peace in the Middle East and a ceasefire. Today, we will be sending out a petition for you to sign. We will be serving President Biden with the petitions, as well as our public officials. Silence is complicity. And we also know that there's a great connection between Harlem and the homes of the world and what is happening in the Middle East, because it is impacting us economically. And it's also reminiscent of what happened to the indigenous people of America, particularly in a trail of tears and the genocide that happened to them, the removal of them from their land, the Middle Passage of African people being taken from their land and then brought here, and really having everything taken from them, as well as genocide and apartheid. It's reminiscent of that in terms of the separation that is happening in Gaza and in the West Bank. So we really have to do our research. We really have to raise our voices. Silence is complicity. And today I have with us Reverend Rhonda McLean Noor, Reverend Rhonda Akanke McLean Noor. And it's really very connected because Reverend Rhonda has done a holiday extravaganza every year for 20 years. It's a holiday party that includes all the holidays that are being celebrated at this time of year. And it is for children in temporary housing. So that's a very connected thing, because right here in Harlem, we have many children and families who are in temporary housing. And that is prior to the asylum seekers, which compounds the situation. And so as billions of dollars go for war and killing, particularly in the Israel-Gaza situation and in Ukraine, there is great need here. Charity begins at home. So let's keep it real. Reverend Rhonda McLean Noor, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and who you are, and share about this phenomenal holiday extravaganza, and a little bit about the history and the journey and the why. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Honored to be on Harlem Network News once again.
Yes, ma'am.
Honored to be alive today. And as you talked about peace in the Middle East and ceasefire, we know that those that were not killed, that are still living, are suffering from displacement and homelessness. So we send our hearts out to them all over the Middle East, and pray for the ceasefire and the lives, particularly of the children that are involved there. Here, as you said, there are over 50-something thousand children, school-age children in temporary housing in New York City. Many of them are in the Bronx and Harlem, and we have been doing this event for 26 years, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me get it right.
Yes, 26 years.
Amazing grace.
It actually started, it's the Reverend Rhonda and Friends Holiday Literacy Extravaganza for children living in temporary housing. And it began when I was at the Department of Cultural Affairs, and we started doing holiday literacy parties for the families in the shelters. And we had Raucous Entertainment, Howie McDuffie, and Most Def, Talib Kweli. They were some of our first guests that helped us to do the parties in the shelters. And then we moved on to doing them at big spaces, banquet halls, and ballrooms, and Hard Rock Cafe. And we did them at HAI, where I used to work, Hospital Audiences Incorporated, in our loft space. And so we've done them various places over the years, and it's all done by donation and volunteers. And it's just a wonderful time where the children and the families are able to forget that they live in a shelter, forget all of the things that happen as a result of living in the shelter, and they just get to celebrate and have a good time. We have storytelling. We have tables filled with books so they can choose their books, and there are people to help them choose according to their reading and age level, as many as they can carry. And we have arts activities where, because we believe, this is in collaboration with Blackberry Productions, and we believe that the arts enhance one's life regardless of what situation you're in. So we have arts activities to inspire the young people and encourage them. We have dance contests. We have holiday card making where they contests where they make holiday cards that they can either give to family members, or they can make two, one for a family member and one for a senior in a rehab or nursing home. We have jewelry making. We have drumming. We have pictures with Santa, the Three Kings, and the Kwanzaa Queen. We have discussions around the various holidays so that everybody knows what is going on and how they're celebrated, and can learn to respect and honor people that celebrate things different than them. We have sing-alongs, and we have we have a big holiday meal first, a big holiday dinner. And then the children leave, and as they're leaving, they're given a big gift bag with toys and art supplies and gifts and warm clothing, hats, scarves, and gloves, and socks. And it's all by donation. And again, it's all volunteers, and we just have a great time. We want the kids leave feeling like they're very special and like they can do anything. That's what we encourage. We have a lot of celebrities have come through over the years, and we're looking forward to some special guests this year as well. I can't hear you.
I'm muted. It's okay. For those of you who are just joining, I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And you can find Harlem Network News every Sunday on YouTube, usually at 4 o'clock, but we do specials during the week. We have a newsletter. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, which is X at this point, TikTok. So we are really reaching out intergenerationally to assure that communities are informed and engaged. And we are very honored to have with us Reverend Rhonda Akanke McLean Moore. And as many of you know, she has been with us from the beginning, from the onset. I believe she was in the prayer circle on the very first Harlem Network News show that we launched. And she has been a mainstay. And she's speaking about the Holiday Extravaganza, which is going to take place on the 21st of December. And I'll let her share more about that. This is the 26th year. And Harlem Network News is a media partner for this great holiday extravaganza. So just share, Reverend Rhonda Akanke, when the event is, the time, where the event is, and how many children will be attending the event, and how it's all set up, if you will, and how our audience can really support this great venture. We honor you. Thank you.
Thank you. This year, the event will be at the Grand Slam Banquet Hall in Harlem on December 21st. The children are coming from 3 shelters in Harlem and 3 shelters in the Bronx. Okay. We're thankful for our contributors thus far: Scholastic Books, Our Kids Read Books, Tish's Bakery, Manners Restaurant, Broadway Marketing, Harlem Network News.
Is West Harlem Development?
West Harlem Development Corporation.
Okay.
And there are others.
Okay.
So we're thankful for all others that are giving thus far. The Gardenia Chapter 41 of the Eastern Stars and the Masons, Samson Lodge 65. So we have a lot of people that are giving different things, but we're still in need for toys and funds to complete the event and make it as special as we have every year. And if you want more information about how to volunteer, you can contact me, Reverend Rhonda, at 917-558-0149, or at email RAMCLEAN, another NUR at yahoo.com. So that's R.A. McLean Noor at yahoo.com. We have a GoFundMe page, which is called Give Children from New York City Shelters a Toy and Books. So if you want to donate to that, we also have a page on Amazon where you can go and buy a toy. And that is called Buy a Toy for Children in Temporary Housing. Buy a Toy, a book for children in temporary housing on Amazon. We have a registry. So we're also hoping that we're going to get some toys from Toys for Tots. But all in all, it's coming along. We're thankful and grateful for everyone involved thus far. And I'm proud and happy. We just, as I said earlier, just got all my friends together and performing artists. I'm also a performing artist and educator. And just everybody I knew and said, we want to do this because it's necessary. And any one of us can be a paycheck, a fire, or war, domestic violence, or uninhabitable building or apartment. Any one of us could become homeless and displaced at any moment. So we have to have compassion and excuse me, compassion and feelings for others that are displaced, because it could be any one of us by the grace of God.
Right. Yes.
There go I. So we're seeking your help.
Thank you.
Whatever you can do, please do not hesitate to call me or to donate, or just send us good vibes and thoughts and wishes, and pray that we are a successful event for 100 children during this holiday season.
Okay. Well, we thank you for doing this. And as I mentioned, Harlem Network News is a media partner on this. So we are working collectively, really exercising the spirit of Kwanzaa, which will be coming up soon, and the spirit of all the holidays, Christmas, Hannukah, festivals of lights. We are all one people inhabiting this earth, which we must protect. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News, and this is Reverend Rhonda McLean Noor, who does the Holiday Extravaganza every year. This is the 26th year, very, very significant. And of course, if you don't remember or you didn't get a chance to write down all the information for Reverend Rhonda, you can certainly reach out to us at Harlem Network News at gmail.com, or just go to our website, harlemnetworknews.org, leave a note. We're at, as you know, 917-261-5397. And it's a great day in Harlem, as it is every day. We are for the people, of the people, by the people. And we appreciate Harlem Network News is on the air because of you and because of your donations. And we are free to speak and free to report because of your donations. We are not really funded by a lot of the big money, that really is controlling a lot of our media right now as we speak, and public officials. So it is making it so that people are not really speaking out, speaking that truth to power, which that's what Harlem Network News does. We are the voice and drumbeat of Harlem. Now let's wrap up, Reverend Rhonda. What I would like to know is what inspired you. I know that you did it with some of the organizations that you work with, but what really inspired you to take on this project and continue this project on your own? What is your motivation, your inspiration? Because I know that this is a significant passion. How does it mesh into all the work that you do? Thank you.
Before I move on, I want to add September's mission has assisted as well with, yes, the GoFundMe page is under September Mission, and they have supported us for at least 23 years.
Now, what is September Mission? What is that?
September's Mission was started by Monica Eichen, and it's an organization that her husband died in 9/11, and she was on the forefront of bringing attention to the people that passed during 9/11, creating the museum and the memorial, and creating all of the the information and attention to all that happened during 9/11. So we're thankful for Monica Eichen and her organization as well. And I when I was the director of cultural arts programs for families living in temporary housing at the Department of Cultural Affairs, it was in collaboration with New York City Public Schools and the New York City Department of Homeless Services. What I found during that time was the children, many of the children get teased and talked about at school. Sometimes they don't have change of clothes. They weren't wearing uniforms back then where, everybody kind of sort of wore the same thing. They were left back a lot of times because of movement from shelter to shelter. They, the self-esteem was kind of low. And whatever was happening wasn't their fault, but they were recipients of the consequences of living in temporary housing. Many times they were availed to gang violence. And, when you live in one space, some of the family facilities have several, more than one room now. Some of them have apartments, but not every facility. But many of the families are sheltered in apartments. But at that time, there were more one room or dormitory style housing facilities, or like I said, one space and lots of beds in one space for one family. And there are curfews, and so the kids kind of really deal with a lot.
Yeah,
and
it's extremely impactful.
Yes, and many of the parents, like I said, we a lot of people judge people that are living in temporary housing, but you don't know anybody's situation. And a lot of people lost jobs, or like I said, it could have been a fire. And there are people who may have not paid rent and gotten evicted or something like that, but that's not the majority of people.
Right, and even given the economic, and I'll just interject, given the economic disparities here in New York City, given the mean rent is now like $4,000 or $5,000, like who can afford that? And there's disparities, particularly facing Black and Brown people. And the majority of the people in the shelters are Black and Brown. That tells you something. And that is a magnifying glass as to what is happening in the world, and that really kind of makes us think about like the Gaza situation, what is happening. So we've got to look at this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's very important.
It's very critical that we say that, as we have billionaires and they're not really having to pay the same taxes as the regular working class people. These are the disparities that we've got to raise our voices, got to make those changes, got to make our public officials accountable. We've got to look at stuff, even as we move towards this presidential election. Accountability is key. If you see something, say something, and then do something. It's a critical thing.
Well, and that goes to what I'm saying, like some of the parents who may have lost a job, right? Or may still be working and lost the apartment due to a fire.
Absolutely.
Once they're in the system, they have various rules and regulations that you have to see this many apartments, which is good. I'm not saying it's bad. You got to try to get people out of the system. But there's a lot of bureaucracy that happens, and a lot of people who were doing well, and when they entered the system, because they have a curfew, because they have to be there when their children arrive, there are a lot of obstacles that people have to overcome to be successful in getting an apartment and getting out of the system. So what I was seeing was a lot of what do you call it?
Recidification.
Yes, with families, you know,
Yes,
in
recidification.
shelters. They
Just
get in
like
an
in the
apartment and then they can't afford to pay the rent. Even though homeless services has helped people to pay rent for a year or two and try to, you know, give a plan, but people cannot afford the rent that's out here, and so they end up back in the shelter, and then the
that's
parents
a very important
become
fact.
depressed, and they become a different kind of individual. So the children, like I said, are caught in the crossfires. And having something special where you feel like you're the most special person in the world for a couple of hours can help make or break a child. And so, even though it's only a couple of hours for that day, we try to make it as special and decorative and just fun as possible. We've had magicians and puppeteers and all kinds of people over the years.
Thank you for that. And we appreciate you. It's incredible. I know you were out there with some of the family and children temporary housing for the Christmas tree lighting right here in Harlem at the state office building last night, braving the cold. So we thank you and we celebrate you. Harlem Network News celebrates you for all you do. And we encourage all of our audience to spread the word, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Harlem Network News, and help us to continue to do the work. We need you to.
Harlem Network News is happening. Thank you.
We are doing more than reporting the news every Wednesday at 135th and Lenox Terrace Way, which is Ella Baker Way. We've coordinated with our local food town to give bread, and we collect donations because Brother Ali of the Muslim Harlem Society gives out food, and he's been doing that for 20 years. So once again, charity begins at home. And if you're looking for cultural products and some great Black dolls of all kinds and pajamas and all those things, go right to Metro North, 125th, right underneath the Metro North awning. And the Little Miss Harlem group is out there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 12 to 6, sometimes 7. So this is us supporting us, and we also are a media partner for them. So let's continue to do the work. Let's continue to collaborate. Let's continue to raise our voices. And thank you, Reverend Rhonda, Akanke, McLean, Noor. And let's get those donations in for the holiday extravaganza, or let's do what you can, even if it's just sending positive energy and love. And we cry for peace in the Middle East and a ceasefire. Terri Wisdom, Harlem Network News. Blessings, blessings.
Blessings. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us and being a supporter all of these years now. So it's a great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
You too. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yes, yes.
Whenever you celebrate.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. We matter.